Moses stood on the edge of the known world. He had led 1 million people across the impossible. They were free, but they were not yet a nation. They were just former slaves, gathered at the foot of a mountain that was about to be set on fire. The Sinai moment, the great hinge point of history. Not in a palace, not in a quiet garden. The covenant was forged in a desolate desert. Before a peak so terrifying, God had to draw a line in the sand. Set bounds around the mountain, the command came. Whoever touches it shall be put to death. The people prepared for 3 days, washing their clothes, setting their hearts. The approach of the sacred was not an invitation for curiosity or tourism. It was a command for reverence. The ground beneath their feet was about to become the most holy ground on earth. On the 3rd day morning came, not with a sunrise but with thunder. The sound was immense. It was the sound of the universe cracking open. Lightning flashed, not one bolt, but continuous, blinding flashes, as if the air itself was tearing apart. A thick, oppressive cloud settled on the mountain's peak, a darkness so profound it felt like solid stone. And through it all, the sound of a trumpet, a shofar, grew louder and louder and louder. The whole mountain trembled. The ground beneath the people's feet shifted and groaned in the presence of its creator. The people saw the thunder. They heard the lightning. They experienced the sound and the sight simultaneously. Fear did not just rise in their throats. It shook their bones. They fell back from the mountain, paralyzed by the sheer, unbridled power of the moment. They were experiencing God unveiled. The voice spoke out of the darkness, not a whisper, not a song, a sound that was a command, a law, a covenant. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Then came the 10 lines, the 10 words, the foundation, not suggestions, not guidelines, the core architecture of freedom, the rules that define a people who live not by the whip of a pharaoh, but by the awe of a father. The rules that govern their relationship with God and their relationship with one another. The people could not bear it. They backed away further. They cried out to Moses, their trembling voices barely heard above the thunder. You speak to us, and we will listen. But let not God speak to us, lest we die. The awe was too much. The presence was too consuming. They wanted the miracle, but they couldn't handle the proximity to the source of the miracle. They wanted the benefit, but not the commitment. Moses answered them, Do not fear, for God has come to test you, that the fear of him may be before you, that you may not sin. He did not say the awe is going to pass. He said the awe is the point. The awe is the mechanism of faithfulness. The awe is the boundary that protects their freedom. And then Moses, the single man who carried the nation on his back, walked into the thick darkness where God was. He didn't just walk into a cloud. He walked into the presence that holds the universe together. Let's pause. Let's stand at that boundary line. The miracle of the sea was external, God parting water. The miracle of Sinai was internal, God demanding a change of heart. One required motion, the other required surrender. The fear they felt was not a fear of punishment. It was the fear of annihilation in the presence of pure, untamed holiness. They were not afraid of the fire. They were afraid of being consumed by the love that generated the fire. They wanted to maintain their comfortable distance, their safe zone between freedom and absolute commitment. The thick cloud wasn't just hiding God. It was shielding the people. It was the veil that made their continued existence possible. The law was not given to enslave them again. It was given to make freedom sustainable. To be truly free is not to have no rules. It is to have rules that reflect the perfect, life-giving nature of the divine. The law was the architectural blueprint for a life lived outside of Pharaoh's tyranny. It was the instruction manual for being a holy people.
If the voice of God doesn't scare you a little bit, you haven't been listening close enough. The awe is the price of the covenant. The lightning bolt that frees you from your old life is the same lightning bolt that gives you the rules for your new life. Don't fear the fire, fear the life you lead when the fire goes out.